So, it's been about 2 years in the making, this, if I remember rightly.
Yeah, probably a little bit more, about 2.5 probably, but yeah, a long time.
So now it's actually here. The question, I suppose, is, does it feel worth it?
Yeah, it does, yeah. I think I was talking to Doug just a little while ago, actually, and saying that I'm as proud of this as anything we've ever done. That's not to say about, you know, belittling other things, but because it's such a jump. You know, it was from a standing start. It wasn't a show in the repertory. It wasn't even in our theatre. You know, we had to talk to the writers and everything, which we've never done before. And it's been great.
The great thing about doing Fantastic Mr. Fox, which of course is set in a woods and a farmyard, is that we're sort of doing it on location. So it's almost like a film set where the audience move from one set to another within the park. So we've built this foxhole. When you're standing further back, it looks like we're sort of going into the ground because it's built on a slope. And so we move the audience through the park to different locations, and all the locations are set, you know, in a field or in the woods. So we've got all these wonderful trees around us. So sort of no acting or set is required. We just use the natural environment of you know, this beautiful part of Holland Park.
So hopefully, you know, when people come to Fantastic Mr. Fox, they'll get that feeling of magic that you can't. The theatre is a magical place in some ways. It's a different kind of magic, but this is magical because it's the set is, you know, already built.
Well, I think you and I have talked for 10 years probably, and you probably were talking about it before I was here as well. You know, that it's that renewing your audience, and that we both hate this acceptance that just, you know, crappy sort of culture can be okay, and we both like crappy culture in different ways as well. But it's that we can't like opera because it's too elitist, and that's why we kept those tickets right down. You know, the kids' tickets are £2.50, the adults are only a £5, and you know, we've got a 6-7 piece band in here and proper singers and everything. No, we took it very seriously right from the off, and you know, and there was always that thing with you know, Sarah in the office, obviously with everyone in the office, but then with Bob and Sean, the designer here, Bob building it, Doug, Carter, Becky, all the team have actually taken it very, very seriously.
It's been something that everybody has put everything into from nothing. I mean, we were wallpapering and painting in the dark the night before we opened. You know, 6 of us just cracking on. It's been, all we've used is all that, well, to Bob and Sean's credit, all they've used are bits from around the theatre. Grass from Fidelio, paint from, I don't know, Don Giovanni. It's amazing.
And I think once it gets branded like that and people took it seriously, a lot of anecdotal evidence has been people saying to me, God, it was a really great show, and that most kids' shows just sort of thrown together.
Absolutely.
And, you know, and I think that makes a good. It reflects well on us, I think, because we never sort of said it will just be okay.
I play Farmer Boggis in this production of Fantastic Mr. Fox.
And spend a lot of time eating chicken and drinking cider.
Not at all.
So how have you found the experience of working out, because we're sitting here in the orchestra pit, almost, as it were, under a large plane tree. It's a slightly unusual environment, but has it been a good one?
Yeah, it's really challenging. It's very exciting. It's very different. You know, you're used to working in a, you know, a standard theatre. You know, even just the difference. You know, people think working at Holland Park, regular venue, is quite an exciting place to be because it doesn't have the normality of a proscenium, and you know, you've got this open pit and you can, you know, it's all this huge space. But then you go from there to here and it's even more crazy because you've got no sight line to the conductor, you've got no monitors, no fold back, the audience are right in your face.
And the fact, I think, that there's live musicians that kids don't often get. Oddly.
Yeah, do they not? I don't know.
I don't think they do. I can't remember taking my kids to see lots of things that had live classical musicians playing in the background.
Probably.
And even so, those musicians are quite unobtrusive. They're sort of almost behind the action, and the kids are very focused on what's going on with the singers.
Yeah, you still see people watching the musicians, though. You know, it's a nice thing. And also, talking about people taking it seriously, you know, Glyn, who's just banging their drum there, and Nick, the leader of the orchestra. I mean, they're in our you know, frontline orchestra, and Nick's the leader of the orchestra. They took it seriously.
And that sound world is so, we're so used to it. We get bombarded with electronic sounds all the time, but when you hear an acoustic instrument mixed in with the what we've got now, you know, we've got the rustle of the trees, the wind, and you've got the, you know, an acoustic instrument sounding and reverberating through there. I reckon that's magic, absolute magic.
It belongs here. I genuinely can't imagine it being done in a theatre, because part of the magic of the music, and it's very organic. That sounds really cheesy, doesn't it? But
No.
I think,
Well, it is organic.
I think it just fits in every way. The animals fit in amongst the trees, and the animal characters fit in amongst the trees and the woods and the grass and the mud, and the farmers. This shack fits too. You know, you've got piles of chippings around the corner, and it belongs here. Yeah, I can't imagine it anywhere else, let alone on stage.
After Roald died, in fact, my aim in life was to start a library of classical music for children. And we started with revolting rhymes for pieces for the concert hall. Then the big leap came into opera with Fantastic Mr. Fox. And Don Sturrock, who runs all the music for the Marvellous Children's Charity, wrote the libretto, sent it to Tobias Picker. Tobias Picker read it very quickly, rang immediately and said, I want to do this.
Well, it was commissioned by Opera Holland especially for this space, this version of it. It's a reduced version, chamber version, an hour-long chamber version of the full version is 80 minutes. So it was actually written, this version especially, for this particular space.
And you thoroughly enjoyed being with us over here
Yes, I loved it. I once I let go of the piece and stopped giving notes, today I turned into a 6-year-old. Was laughing at all of Bogus and Bunce's antics.
And have you seen how much the children really enjoy it and run around? I mean, it's absolutely fantastic that
they seem to. I'm usually sitting in the back or standing in the back, so I can't see their faces, but they're very quiet. And I've noticed they're extremely well behaved. The only misbehaving takes place amongst some of the adults, who I think get a little tired of moving from place to place. And at the premiere, one lady refused to get up and move. She said, "I'm not moving again." So
all the hours and days and weeks and months were entirely worth it. As soon as you get an audience here, this place becomes magical.
Yeah.
And it's no longer a muddy lawn in Holland Park, but it's actually a fox den and a farm and everything we need it to be. So,
so that was the start.
And it was done in LA, of course, and
yes,
a great
the
success.
premiere was in LA with Joel Findlay playing the part of Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yeah, good cast.
It was incredible. Yeah. And then its British premiere has been here in Holland Park.
You know, there's all these different corners, and I thought, you know, the big kid inside of me thought, oh, that looks fun to play in that area, and I'd love to play in this area. So that's when we decided with wonderful designer Sean that we'd move the action around, and then we thought that the kids would enjoy running from place to place, and I think that's actually the glue that keeps this production together, is the children running, the sight of seeing them run across from one side of the park to the next, and sitting down in the front row all excited waiting for the next bit.
People, if they're given opera or literature or anything at an early age, will buy it. It's only when they're told that it's not for them, then they grow up to 20, 30 still thinking it's not.
Still thinking it's not.
40, 45 they might get it, and you know, they've wasted all those years. And
well, we've had about 1,000 people in on this, so that's 1,000. If we think a lot of them are new to opera, I don't know what the percentage would be necessarily, but that's no bad thing. No, by any standard.
No, it's not, and also because it's not just easy throwaway music. This either, you know, Tobias has created a lot of soundscapes that are quite tricksy, and one of the things for me is there's a scene down here where it's really quite tricky music, and the kids are all following it just because they've been led into the story. Yeah,
one would imagine that Roald would have approved.
Oh, I think he would have been thrilled.
Sleep falls away as the night begins to work the spell, as men